Greetings, kindred friend. Try to imagine with me the monks and transcendent Zen masters of ancient times. No matter how arduous a day of labor was, or how many worldly fluctuations they faced, they always maintained an uncannily serene aura when night fell. They possessed the ability to sleep deeply and fully, recover vitality powerfully, and maintain absolute stillness even in the heart of the surrounding darkness. Have you ever wondered what created that difference? It is not because monks have bodies stronger than ours, nor because they have less pain or fewer responsibilities. It is because they thoroughly understand a secret that the hustle and bustle of life out there has unintentionally stripped from us. A secret hidden in a very small moment, right at the fragile threshold before you drift into sleep. Etch this truth into your soul to soothe your being. Monks never use willpower to force the body to heal. They simply stop interfering with its natural self-recovery process. Monks don't force the body to heal. They stop interfering with its healing. While we spend our nights using our minds to worry, to fix pains, or to monitor our own sleep, the monks practice a completely opposite art. The art of sacred letting go. Tonight, I do not invite you to perform hours of stressful meditation. I want to hand back to you a minimalist method, a ritual lasting exactly 3 minutes that monks have preserved for centuries. Just 3 minutes for you to send an absolute signal of safety to your nervous system, returning sovereignty to the wisdom of the body, so that healing can take place in its most profound and radiant form within the darkness. The journey back to freedom begins right now. The code of safety. Kindred friend, empathize with this profound truth. Your body does not actually listen to the words you speak with your intellect. It listens to the silent internal state of the nervous system. Even if you tell yourself 100 times to rest, if deep down the rhythm of the nervous system is still ringing alarm bells, every effort to find peace becomes meaningless. Ancient monks, through thousands of hours of still sitting in deep forests, discovered a biological law that modern neuroscience now calls the shift between survival mode and healing mode. Imagine the nervous system like a diligent sentry at the city gate. If that sentry senses even a hint of danger, whether it is financial worry in a foreign land, a secret resentment toward a relative, or the pressure of unfinished work, he will immediately bolt every gate and mobilize all life essence for defense. The tragedy of modern humans is that we often bring that entire armor of vigilance into bed. We lie down, but the sentry inside remains standing, weapon in hand, staring intently into the darkness of anxiety. In that stressful state of protection, the body can only maintain life at a minimum level and never has enough space to perform a deep overhaul at the cellular level or to clarify the soul. In contrast, transcendent meditators have trained the ability to leave that day right before closing their eyes. They do not carry any burden of identity or responsibility into their dreams. They know how to send definitive physical signals to inform the brain that the war has truly ended. The danger has passed. Now is the time for rebirth. Etch this truth into your heart. To liberate yourself, true healing only begins the moment the nervous system no longer feels responsible for survival. Healing begins when the nervous system no longer feels responsible for survival. When the nervous system believes the surrounding space is completely safe, it finally dares to open the doors of its reserve energy treasury to begin the miraculous work of mending. Tonight, I invite you to learn how to send that safety signal, returning to the body the greatest power of recovery that nature has bestowed. Why do we lie down but never rest? Try observing the darkness in your room at midnight when everything around you has fallen completely silent. At that very moment, a heartbreaking reality is taking place. Your body appears motionless under the warm blanket, but deep beneath that stillness, an invisible machine is still running at the speed of a whirlwind. Kindred friend, our silent tragedy is the misconception that simply lying down and closing our eyes means we are resting. However, your nervous system does not understand the concept of time on a clock. It only understands what you are nourishing in your thoughts. Have you ever found yourself lying there, While your mind is busily replaying old films of a day gone by, we chew over an unintended word from a child that hurt our feelings, or busily sketch anxious scenarios for tomorrow's health. Your body may be in a safe room in America, but your soul is wandering at some harbor filled with insecurity. When your mind is still running, the nervous system will continuously send tiny vibrations to every muscle fiber and blood vessel, forcing the body to maintain a state of high vigilance. You are consuming all your reserved life essence just to dialogue with the ghosts of anxiety. This is the turning point between us and the awakened Zen masters. Monks do not view sleep as physical exhaustion. They view it as a ritual of sacred letting go. They are trained in a profound wisdom to never let today encroach upon the territory of dreams. Etch this revelation to see the path of liberation. Monks never carry the mind into sleep. They let the mind dissolve completely the moment night falls. They don't carry the mind into sleep. They let it dissolve before sleep begins. They understand that for the body to be truly reborn, the mind must be returned to the void. Tonight, I want to invite you to step out of that weary loop. We will not use willpower to extinguish thoughts, but we will use a minimalist ritual to invite the dissolution of agitation. Prepare your mindset to enter the 3-minute secret. The key you have long awaited to truly find a harbor for your soul. The 3-minute ritual, the key to minimalism. Gently set down every definition of striving in practice or training that you have long heard. Now, I invite you to touch the gentlest bridge into the darkness, the bridge that Zen masters silently practice in their secluded huts. The secret of the monks does not lie in complexity, but in stripping away. This method does not require you to utilize complicated imagination, nor does it force you to memorize long mantras. For meditative wisdom understands that when body and mind are exhausted after a long day of worries, forcing the brain to do more, even visualizing good things, unintentionally creates a new layer of pressure on the weary nervous system. This is simply 3 minutes of intentional letting go. You are not striving to reach a high meditative state, nor are you using willpower to chase sleep. Etch this truth to liberate yourself from all final pressure. This 3-minute ritual does not exist for you to create healing. It exists only for you to stop preventing the natural healing process that is waiting to flow. The greatest recovery always occurs when your controlling self chooses to retreat. These 3 minutes are when you send a signal of sacred entrustment, so that life essence can operate freely without being obstructed by the tension of the will. Let yourself be leisurely, empty, and doing nothing. We will enter the first minute right now, as the breath becomes the guide leading you back to your pure being. The first minute, breathing like a monk, the command of letting go. Now, when your back is completely supported by the softness of the mattress, allow me to lead you to touch the first key that monks silently practice in the still of the night. Do not rush to find any high state. Start in the simplest way. Become a silent friend to your own breath. In the wisdom of the Anapanasati Sutta, the first step is never change, but pure awareness. I invite you to gently place your attention on the tip of the nose or the rising and falling of the abdomen. Just let the breath inhale and exhale naturally as it is. Perhaps the rhythm of the breath right now still holds the haste of a long day of wandering or is heavy with unspoken concerns. All are okay, all are allowed to be present. You only need to stand beside and observe that stream of life essence passing through without any judgment or adjustment. After a few leisurely breaths of awareness, I invite you to perform the subtlest adjustment of consciousness. Every time you begin to exhale, actively lengthen that breath just a bit more. Imagine your exhale is like a sigh of relief when you have just dropped a 1,000-pound burden after a long, arduous journey. In Buddhist meditation, the inhale represents the reception of energy, but the exhale is the ultimate symbol of letting go. When you exhale very slowly and deeply, you are performing an act of spiritual purification, letting the dust of anxiety dissolve into the void with the warm air. Under the lens of science, the act of lengthening the exhale is the most effective way to wake up the vagus nerve. the largest cable transmitting peace that runs along the body. When you slow down your exhale, you are sending the most definitive biological signal to the anxious brain that the war has truly ended. There are no threats here. Now, we are allowed to rest. Etch this affirmation into your heart to soothe your being. Each lengthened exhale is the whisper of wisdom, reminding the body that it no longer needs to strain for defense for even one more second. The exhale tells the body it no longer needs to defend itself. Feel your heart rate begin to slow down, rhythmic and steady like a temple bell in the quiet night. Your shoulders drop, melting into the mattress. You are returning to the nervous system, its most original leisure, creating a vast space for the work of healing to begin in every leisurely breath. The second minute. The art of silent witnessing. Once the exhale has gently opened the door of peace, I invite you to step into the second minute, the minute of non-interfering presence. Imagine your attention right now is like the gentle moonlight, leisurely playing on a still lake, reflecting all things but having absolutely no intention of disturbing the water. In the Buddhist meditation tradition, masters always maintain a state called bare awareness. This is a minimalist but powerful art that the daily rush often makes us forget. Most of us, even while lying in bed, silently play the role of a harsh supervisor. We busily check if the shoulders have softened, if the back has stopped aching, or if the mind is quiet enough. Unintentionally, that very desire to achieve relaxation is a new chain, keeping the nervous system in a state of tension. In this second minute, the monks perform a bold move of consciousness. Do not try to relax, and do not strive to heal. Let your attention drift lightly from the top of the head, down to the forehead, the eyes, spreading through the shoulders and along the spine. If you encounter an area of pain, simply note it gently. Pain is present here. Do not try to push it away, do not analyze why it is there, and do not force it to disappear. When you stop dissecting or fixing yourself, you are sending a command of liberation to the brain. Neuroscience has discovered that when you shift from a state of analyzing and fixing to a state of silent witnessing, the prefrontal cortex, which is tired from micromanaging, will officially retire. The moment the internal supervisor retreats, the body's innate wisdom will immediately take over the kingdom. Without your command, life essence will automatically flow to where mending is needed, and cells will automatically perform their most radiant restorative functions. Etch this truth into your soul. Your body will naturally know how to return to wholeness the moment you courageously let go of the need to control it. Tonight, you do not need to be a good doctor. You only need to be a compassionate friend, standing on the sidelines and quietly observing the miracle of recovery silently taking place within your own being. Just let everything be as it is, leisurely and serene like that. The third minute. Letting go of control, the pinnacle of entrustment. Try to contemplate a paradoxical law of life. There are things in this world that the more you chase them, the further they run, and only when you have the courage to stop do they quietly find their way back. Sleep and healing are such things. After soothing the body with the breath and identifying all sensations with tolerance, we now step into the final threshold, the most sacred one, the minute of absolute letting go. Throughout a long life of wandering, we have been trained to be excellent drivers. We assume that to achieve anything, we must strive, strain, and arrange. We bring that fighting mindset to bed. We strive to sleep. We try to get healthy. We command the mind to be quiet. However, in the wisdom of the masters, the will to control is the hidden thief, silently stealing away your true rest. The very notion of "I am trying" reactivates the analytical brain, keeping the nervous system in a state of combat readiness. The monks understand a liberating secret, that tonight I want to hand back to you. Sleep only truly comes when the one trying to find it disappears completely. Sleep comes when the one trying to sleep disappears. Let this affirmation sink deep into every blood vessel. At this moment, I invite you to perform the most courageous act of consciousness, completely dissolve. Do not be the one practicing the ritual anymore. Do not be the one waiting for healing anymore. Be like a drop of water merging into the ocean. No form, no destination, no effort. When you completely let go of the steering wheel of destiny, you are not wobbling. On the contrary, you officially touch the harbor of leisure. The secret of great recovery lies here. Healing is not something you make, but a grace that only reveals itself when the controller within you chooses to retreat. When you disappear in sacred entrustment, your body is truly free to begin its most radiant work of rebirth. Do not fear the darkness. Do not fear the uncertainty. Let the breath go itself. Let the heart beat itself. And let your being leisurely sink into the compassionate arms of the night. Everything is finished. Tonight, you have truly come home. When the world stops at the threshold. Imagine your mind right now is like an ancient house that you have worked hard to build through many years of wandering. Throughout a long day, you have flung every door open to welcome many guests, worries for children, plans for the future, and agitations from the world out there. However, there is a supreme art that monks always maintain to protect their life essence, and that is temporary renunciation. In meditative wisdom, renunciation is not throwing away life, but the art of leaving all burdens outside the threshold before you step into the room of rest. Forest monks consider the door of their hut a sacred boundary. As soon as they touch the latch, they perform an act of consciousness, dusting off the road, dust from their robes and declaring an end to all worldly roles. Tonight, I invite you to perform a similar internal gesture. Silently whisper to yourself a liberating mantra. Right now, nothing more needs to be carried. For now, nothing needs to be carried. Feel the weight of this statement slowly removing every invisible stone pressing down on your chest and shoulders. Please understand a truth. This is not just a psychological consolation, but a definitive biological command sent to the brain. When you still hold the notion that you must worry or must solve, the brain will continuously run threat simulation programs in the unconscious. It forces the nerves to stay awake to find solutions for tomorrow's problems. This very thing leaks energy and blocks the flow of recovery. But when you perform the ritual of renunciation, you are pressing the power off button for the entire alert system. You declare to the nervous system that the work shift has truly ended. Now, the entire universe will carry everything on your behalf. Allow yourself to be anonymous for the next few hours. You are no longer the pillar of the family, no longer the patient, and no longer the one carrying responsibility. You are simply a pure life, relying on the compassionate arms of the night. When you dare to let the world wait out there, that is when you truly find the way back to yourself. The trap of the supervisor. Try to identify a subtle paradox that often creeps into consciousness whenever we begin a healing journey. We are so used to a culture that emphasizes effort. To achieve, we must strain. To get results, we must work hard. However, the silent tragedy is that we bring that productivity mindset to bed. We unintentionally turn peace into a new task, heavy on our shoulders. Have you ever lain there, eyes closed, but the mind still silently playing the role of a stern supervisor? You busily watch yourself. Is my breath deep enough? Why hasn't the pain eased after 10 minutes? Or am I performing the monk's technique correctly? Kindred friend, understand a profound biological mechanism. In the language of the nervous system, all supervision is synonymous with an alarm signal. When you monitor your progress to wait for results, the brain interprets that as, the problem is not yet solved, the risk is still there, so I must stay awake to manage. You unintentionally turn your bed into a stressful laboratory, where you are both the anxious patient and the eager doctor waiting for a miracle. Monks never do that. They understand that healing is not a commodity you can bargain for with effort. It is a grace of nature. Like the way a flower bud silently takes shape in the cold night, it does not need anyone's witness or pressure to perform its miracle. Etch this affirmation to liberate yourself from all final pressure. Your body only truly heals when it is returned to absolute freedom, not under the strict supervision of the will. The body heals in freedom, not under supervision. Tonight, perform the most courageous act. Fire the internal supervisor within you. Do not try to do it right, and do not wait for any miraculous signal tomorrow morning. When you dare to ignore even whether you are being healed or not, that is when the door of recovery is truly flung open in its most radiant way. When peace becomes instinct, try to contemplate a small path in your backyard. If you leisurely walk with the same rhythm every day, then over time, the weeds will part, making way for a clear and easy path. Our nervous system operates with an identical, profound rhythm. Throughout many years, we have unintentionally walked too much on the path of anxiety and vigilance, causing the brain to form deep grooves of stress. But kindred friend, there is a hopeful truth that both meditative wisdom and modern science confirm. Your brain never stops its ability to self-calibrate, no matter what age you are. Science calls this neuroplasticity. Each night, when you persistently perform this 3-minute ritual, you are not just seeking sleep for a single night. You are directly redrawing your internal energy map. You are sowing seeds of reassurance so that the nervous system learns again how to trust reality. After just a few weeks of persistent nourishment, you will identify a miraculous shift. Your body begins to remember the way home. The moment you lie down and place your hand on your stomach, the nervous system will automatically understand it's time to rest. You no longer need to strive to chase peace, because your own body has learned how to lower its weapons as soon as the first signal is sent. The aches will ease faster, the shoulders will drop more naturally, and the door leading you into deep sleep will be opened in the most leisurely way. When peace has been reprogrammed into every nerve fiber, it is no longer a luxury goal, but becomes a new instinct, a solid fortress protecting your soul against all the agitations of the world. The art of letting go, to reborn. Try to be still and look at your own hands right now. Do you realize that what truly makes your hands tired and numb is not the weight of the object you are holding, but because your muscles are refusing to open the palm? In the profound and miraculous wisdom of the Buddha, our anxiety and illness operate with an identical profound law. He taught that the root of all exhaustion and pain in this world originates from a binding cord called attachment, or the unceasing desire to hold on. We suffer not because the world out there is difficult, or because old age is tiring, but because we are trying to grip tightly onto the ghosts of anxiety, the roles of responsibility, and the uneasy forebodings. We hold them so long that we mistakenly think they are a part of our own flesh, forgetting that our hands were born to be leisurely and empty. Let this mantra of liberating power light up your consciousness tonight. What you courageously stop holding will automatically stop hurting you. What you stop holding stops hurting. Forest Zen monks are not people without concerns. They are simply people who have trained their spiritual hands to know how to loosen at the right time. They understand the ultimate truth that healing is not the act of fighting to defeat illness, but the act of reconciling with reality through complete letting go. When you stop squeezing your life, when you dare to return to the void, what belongs to the void, sacred life essence will automatically flood in to fill the quiet spaces you have just created. Tonight, let this wisdom soothe your soul, bringing you back to your pure being which has never been harmed by any worldly attachment. When the being finds its own way home. Kindred friend, let your mind now quietly settle like golden dust particles slowly falling to the bottom of a still lake in the quiet night. We have traveled together through a profound journey to discover the secret of forest monks, people who have spent their lives clarifying the soul. You see, monks do not possess a divine body or a genome different from ours. They also must face the impermanence of age and the hardships of the physical body. However, the only difference lies here. They do not use the self to control or force recovery. They thoroughly understand the rhythm of entrustment and absolutely never allow the impatience of the intellect to interrupt the innate wisdom of every cell. Tonight, as the boundary between reality and dreams begins to blur, I invite you to etch this final revelation into your heart. Do not try to heal like a monk. Simply stop preventing healing like one. Tonight, don't try to heal like a monk. Simply stop preventing healing like one. With just 3 minutes of complete letting go, you have officially returned sovereignty to the peaceful instinct inherent within you. If this journey has brought even a little lightness to your heart, I invite you to perform a ritual to seal this consciousness right now. Write down in the comments the liberating mantra, I let go of control and allow healing to begin. That affirmation will be the final safety seal, leading you into a dreamless sleep. Thank you for trusting and accompanying me on the path of awakening. Wishing you a very serene night and a radiant rebirth in boundless joy tomorrow morning. Goodbye and sleep well.